Welcome back. Thanks to our wonderful producer, Rachel Love. We're back with Airplay 2020, and we're better than ever. Tonight's show is Playing House by moi, yours truly. And we have a very special guest, Miss Mary Ellen Ashley, star of stage and screen, Broadway. From Broadway to Saturday Night Live, she's been around and she's wonderful. Please enjoy her as she plays Bella ABZUG in Playing House. Time, December 1992. Place, Coni Graduate Center, New York City. Some believe that the voice of women now echoes the cause that sparked the women's movement in its nascent stages. Here, Bella ABZUG has come to give a lecture on women's involvement in government. After listening to herself, she is inspired and steps down from the podium of New York 1992 and slowly wanders into the 21st century to deliver a new and even more promising message to the women of today's movement now. Bella ABZUG, welcome her. American lawyer, U.S. representative, social activist, and leader of the women's movement, has come to Coni Graduate Center in 1992 to lecture on women's involvement in government. As Bella takes the podium, there is thunderous applause. She smiles and nods to her audience.
Oh, thank you. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Oh, thanks. You know, it's interesting. I keep trying to figure out some of the historical aspects of our lives. And there's an ancient tale that they'll tell you in the early days of Athens, which was considered the cradle of democracy, if you recall. In fact, women had the right to vote there. This story is told by Herodotus, father of history, and revised by St. Augustine in his text, City of God. And it describes this event, excuse me, in which an olive tree sprang from the earth, and in another spot, water gushed forth. Very frightened by this, the king sent to Delphi and inquired what this meant and what was to be done. The gods replied that the olive tree meant Athene and the water Poseidon, and it was for citizens to decide after which of the two deities they wished to name their city. Thereupon the king called an assembly of the citizens, both men and women, for in those days, said Augustine, women took part in public deliberations. The men voted for Poseidon and the women for Athene, and since there was one more woman, Athene won out. Poseidon was angry at this, and the sea flooded the whole Athenian territory. To appease the gods' wrath, the citizens imposed a threefold punishment on their women. They should lose their right to suffrage, that children should no longer take the names of their mothers, and they themselves should no longer bear the title of Athenians. This story illuminates the contradictory nature of democracy as it has been practiced right up to the present century. As many of you know, I am a feminist. Or have you gleaned that I am? Feminism is something more than a political philosophy and a movement relating only to the rights and powers of women. It is a vision of a new and human order in which all people, regardless of race, religion, sex, sexual preference, physicality, class, age, and ethnicity, can live and produce together in harmony, mindful of today's and future generations. Our goals must be more than just bringing women into existing structures. We have to transform those structures. Now, it's not that I believe that women are superior to men. Well, it's just that we've had so little opportunity to be corrupted by power, and we want that opportunity. No, that's a joke. I mean, we could argue at length whether women can change the nature of power or whether power will change the nature of women. But we're not wedded to it. I remember, like yesterday, in the Congress of the United States, when I was a strong advocate against the war in Vietnam. And after a while, after the Pentagon Papers, after information turned out to be false, a lot of my colleagues in the Congress came up to me and said, "Don't you think we're upset about the fact that we were lied to and that we would like to do something?" "So, what's stopping you?" And they would say, "We can't because we voted for the war originally." Look, whether it's right or wrong, it seems that you get wedded to your action, and it's very hard to change. Women will change the nature of power. We don't usually reflect special interests. We don't own the corporations, the oil wells, the uranium mines. We are more independent and bring our values of nurturing and caring and compassion to the work that we do in politics and elsewhere. However, this will only come when there is a critical mass of women. That is, when there is as many women as men counseling and governing us. And I hope that day will not be far off. We wrote the Women's Action Agenda 21. The United Nations passed Agenda 21. We demand our right as half of the world's population to bring our perspectives, our values, our skills, and experience in the policy making on an equal basis with men, not only at the United Nations conference, but into the 21st century. Excuse
Ella slowly steps down to take a sip of water, then steps down from the podium and lights fade on it. A dimmer, softer light comes up downstage right. Bella stares at an empty chair and a small table. She picks up a coffee cup and sits in her kitchen.
Well, good morning, Martin. You know, breakfast just isn't the same without you here. It's been over 10 years since you passed away, Marty, and I miss you. Yeah. Well, the girls are fine. They're great. Eve and Lizzie, two good kids. We were lucky, Martin, especially with all my sassiness. We were damn lucky with our girls. You know, sometimes I wonder what I was so angry about. Being angry never fixed anything anyhow. Remember how I cried when they started calling me Battling Bella? I miss you. I remember when I said that a lot of men believe that women have been trained to speak softly and carry a lipstick. Ha! Those days are over. Well, I'm speaking a little softer now, Marty. I just don't have the same spunk. My heart is still in its... But the doctor says I need an operation. You know, Marty, I think I'll be seeing you soon. There's only so many grains of sand left in my hourglass. Put the coffee on for us, Marty. Okay, Martin?
The lights go out on the table. Bella steps out of her kitchen and crosses to the spotlight center stage. She speaks directly to the audience of the 21st century.
Wow. It seems like it was yesterday. It was 1992, over 25 years ago. A lot has changed, but a lot has stayed the same. Makes me think I may not be vocal anymore, but I'm watching. And maybe I'm whispering in the ears of all you women today. I hear you speaking up, especially in government. It was a real shame about Hillary. She'd have been a great president, but you ladies, we need to keep it going. Why? It's a movement. A movement needs to keep moving. It's real and it's alive. Women feel what other women feel. You grab one of us, you better watch out because you're grabbing all of us. I mean, come on. There would not even be a human race without us, right? But now, from a wider vantage point, I do see things a little differently. I think of Athena. She was quite brave in battles, but only fought to defend her own territory. She used her power to create, like, the bridle, which enabled us to tame horses. She brought us the rake and the plow, and invented the ship and the chariot, and also the flute. She didn't waste her energy on trying to change small minds. I can recall just before I got elected to the House of Representatives, I met a young woman, a kindergarten teacher, Miss Anna Jones. She came into my law office in tears. Miss ABZUG, I was fired. I was fired for solving a problem in my classroom. Not only that, but I'm not allowed to teach anymore, not anywhere, not ever again. I love teaching. This should not happen. Oh, I agreed with Miss Jones, but one parent did not. Jeremy's dad. In her classroom, the afternoons were spent playing house. The boys started teasing and taunting the girls, so Miss Jones split them up. 2 days a week, Mondays and Tuesdays. The boys got to play with the hammers and nails at the carpentry table, while the girls played in the kitchen. Then, on Wednesdays and Thursdays, they switched. On Fridays, it was open to free play. The teacher noticed a marked improvement in their social skills, and all seemed to be getting along just fine. Her system was working until one day Jeremy's dad came into the classroom and demanded that his son be able to play wherever he wanted and that he should not ever have to be in the kitchen. Only women belong in the kitchen. When Miss Jones refused to succumb to his threats, he had her fired. That's when I came in. Not only did I get behind the teacher, I brought the whole Now movement with me. We spoke out nationwide, and Miss Jones got her job back. Speaking of house, I really do believe that a woman's place is in the House and in the Senate and anywhere she can use her voice to make change. After all, it is the 21st century. Change is inevitable, right? Be strong, ladies. We are all still behind you. The spirit of now lives on. We watched that woman's march and we were cheering you on. Be the change. Let's get in that house and clean it. Actually, let's get the men to help. This is Agenda 21, the woman's movement. It's a force of nature, and it's unstoppable.
Blackout. Thank you, Mary Ellen Ashley. That was wonderful. And thank you, Bella ABZUG, for being such a wonderful role model for us, even after your death. We're like, such an honor. And Mary Ellen Ashley, you are such an honor to work with. Thank you again.